Family. Okay, first, before I start this review recap situation, I want to say there will be major spoilers in this recap, okay? So if you have not seen the new episode, Walking Dead, season 6, episode 7, heads up. If you have not already seen last night's episode, I will ask you to go ahead and click out of the video, because if you hear some spoilers, I mean, clearly if you're going looking for reviews and recaps, you're going to hear some spoilers. But just in case, okay, you are here by mistake, go ahead and click out, because there will be major spoilers. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Okay, you should be gone. Glenn is alive, baby. Okay, so it's no more worried mama around this piece. Glenn is alive. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Girl, I got me some water. Out of water, girl. Ain't this a reminiscence of Glenn? He was out of water. Girl, I can imagine, because my throat is dry down a food right now, okay? But let's go ahead and get into it. Y'all already know how I do my my reviews and recaps. I actually go through the scene, and then I, slightly discuss it, recap it a little bit after I go through the entire scene. Because there are some people who watch my reviews who don't have cable, and they say they watch my reviews so they can catch up on the show. So I actually talk about what happened in the scene, and then I might elaborate on it a little bit more, just so you guys are aware, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. So it starts out with them going back to the trash can with Glenn and Nicholas, okay? When Nicholas shoots himself in the head. And it turns out that everyone was 100% right. The walkers were, in fact, eating Nicholas. They were not eating Glenn. Glenn was underneath Nicholas. And after, the walkers were eating him or whatever, eating Nicholas, Glenn made his way underneath the garbage can, okay? And as Glenn made his way underneath the garbage can, the walkers, of course, continued to eat Nicholas. But of course, there were 2 or 3 walkers who noticed Glenn go underneath this trash can. But Glenn killed them with his fucking hand. It looks like he gouged them in the eyes with his fingers or some shit, girl. I don't know. But that's what it appeared like he did. So Glenn went under the trash can. He killed the walkers that were able to see him. And they were kind of like shielding his body so the other walkers couldn't really see under the trash can to see what was under there. So that's what happened with that whole little situation, okay? And the next day, after all of this happened, because, he had to stay underneath this trash can all night long, because, the walkers were still, kind of congregating around this area. But after they, pretty much demolished Nicholas, they were starting to disperse, pretty much. And the next day when the sun came out, Glenn made his way from underneath the trash can. And that's when he was, trying to get us some water and all this type of stuff, because he was thirsty. Because, I mean, number one, we've been running from walkers all day yesterday. I haven't had a sip of water, and I'm looking for some water. Then all of a sudden, Enid pops up out of nowhere, and she throws Glenn a bottle of water, okay? If you guys don't know who Enid is the chick that was from the JSS episode, who was writing JSS all over everything. The one who whose parents were eaten by the walkers, and the one who we are suspecting to be a wolf. So she's the one who threw Glenn a bottle of water, okay? So that's what happened with that whole little situation right there. Now, he makes his way into this old house where he assumes that Enid is. And he goes in there, and of course, she's in there hiding out, and she's telling him to take a bottle of water and leave. And of course, he wants to ask her all of these questions about what happened at Alexandria, because right now, I'm pretty sure he's assuming, is this the reason why you're here? Because at this particular point in time, I don't think he really knows that she's, kind of a, she's a wanderer. He's probably thinking that she's hiding out here because a whole lot of stuff happened at Alexandria, and she was pretty much just trying to get away. So he's asking her if everything's okay at Alexandria, if Maggie's okay, etc., etc. And she basically tells him what happened at Alexandria. Got a piece of hair in my mouth. What happened at Alexandria is what happens all the time, okay? People died. And of course, he's thinking, did the walkers get there? She was like, it wasn't walkers, it was people. Basically, telling him that it was the wolves. She didn't say it was the wolves. She was like, but it wasn't walkers, it was people who came in and wrecked shop, okay? So, that's what happens with that whole other situation right there. She basically telling him it wasn't walkers, it was people. And back at the OK Corral, Rick is checking the security of the walls to make sure everything is okay. And as he's doing that, Morgan is out there doing his aikido, of course, his whole little bullshit situation. when I watched Morgan's backstory, I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it for what it was. But at the same time, we have to understand that that type of behavior is extremely, extremely dangerous. Is it humane? Of course. But we have to understand the state of the world now. The state of the world is not okay for you to be doing the types of things that Morgan is doing, because it's going to get people killed, and it's eventually going to get him killed, I'm pretty sure. So like I said, he's out there doing his taquito, and Glenn, as Rick is checking the security of the walls, he tells Morgan that he wants to speak to him a little bit later. Okay, so basically that's what's going on there. Rick does notice the walls are bleeding and all this type of stuff, and I still don't understand. Somebody tried to explain to me the meaning behind the bleeding walls, but I didn't necessarily get it. But if you're one of those people who really understands the meaning behind the bleeding walls, leave it down in the comment section below, because I'm still confused about that. Not that it even matters at this point, girl, because we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But so Maggie is on the security tower, and Rick notices her, so he goes up there and tells her, you know, you don't have to be up here. And she was like, yes, I do, because if Glenn sends out a signal, you know, I'm going to see him from here. So she's up on this tower, basically pretty much just watching out for Glenn or anyone who sends up a signal that they're out there. And, you know, Rick basically telling her, you know, everybody's going to come back. We've been through worse than this before, and we've all survived. Everybody's going to be okay, including, you know, including Sasha, Abraham, and Daryl, and Glenn. So she's, you know, he's basically trying to reassure her that everyone is going to come back, pretty much. And meanwhile, Glenn is still searching for Enid, because, you know, like I said, when they were in this old abandoned house, she had got her shit and she had wrecked shop, okay? She dipped. So Glenn is out there looking for Enid, and as he's looking for her, he finds David. You remember David and Michonne were getting over the wall, and of course one of the walkers grabbed David's leg and ended up, you know, biting him and all that stuff. So he finds David out there, and of course David is a walker now, and he go ahead and, you know, kills David, you know, takes him on out of his misery. But at the same time, he finds the note that David wrote his wife back in Alexandria. But if I'm not mistaken, isn't his wife the one that committed suicide? The one that old girl had to, you know, Rick knew baby mama. Well, not his baby mama, you know what I'm saying. Rick knew sugar thing, boo thing, or whatever. Isn't she the one who had to kill the wife of this dude when she found out that he didn't come back or whatever? He ended up finding the letter that he wrote to her, and he ended up getting it, and I guess he's going to take it back. But of course, at this particular point, he doesn't know that the woman is dead. So, yeah, he does all of that, and that's what happens with that whole little situation right there. So, meanwhile, back at the OK Corral, back at Alexandria, we see this fucking priest. Somebody please explain to me, why is the priest still alive? All of these valuable people, okay, are dead, and you got this fool around here still alive. The same priest who done sat there and locked out his congregation, okay, sat there and hoarding food and stuff. I mean, you're supposed to be a priest. Not only that, you done went and told Deanna and the rest of the people that we're dangerous and, you know, we shouldn't be here. But your ass still walking around here alive, putting up flyers talking about prayer, 1 o'clock down there at the solar panels. Boy, if you don't get your... Boy, if you don't go somewhere. So, of course, Rick and Carl are walking up, and Rick sees him putting out these flyers, and Rick politely just grabs the flyers and tears the motherfuckers down. When he did that, baby, I almost died, okay? That shit was hilarious to me. Because you need to go on somewhere, okay? Like I said, you should have been dead. I understand that you want to go and have prayer. I get it. I got it good. But at the same time, motherfucker, you lucky we ain't throwed your ass out there to feed them damn walkers. Seriously. Because you are, I mean, he's useless. What is he good for? I don't understand why he's still alive and all these valuable people around here dead, girl. I ain't saying, I'm just saying, okay? So Rick is showing, I still don't know this little boy name. I'm gonna call him his stepson. Y'all already know, the son of the lady that Rick was kissing in the last episode. You know, her son, okay? The one who Rick killed son, okay? So he's out there basically showing the boy how to hold a gun and, you know, how to shoot and all this stuff. And the boy actually wants to shoot. He's not showing him how to actually shoot with bullets. He's showing him, you know, how to hold the gun and what to do, how to pull the trigger and all that stuff. But he wants to actually shoot the gun. But Rick is telling him, no, we can't really do that because we don't want to agitate the walkers, okay? We pretty much, the walkers are pretty much dispersed to where they're not in one central location, so we don't have to worry about them putting too much pressure on the wall, and we don't want to sit here and be shooting guns and stuff, you know, bringing them to one central location and putting more pressure on the wall and end up tearing the wall down. And the boy's like, well, can we go ahead and shoot the gun off in the middle of the city or whatever, in the middle of Alexandria, to where they won't know where it came from? His little ass is up to something. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later too. But basically he's showing, you know, old boy how to, you know, hold a gun and shoot it and all this stuff. And meanwhile, Carl is out there with him. And while Carl is out there with him, Carl is kind of looking like, if y'all don't know if y'all noticed this as well, Carl is kind of looking like, you might not need to be showing this motherfucker how to shoot a gun, okay? I mean, because Carl, you know, even though the little motherfucker get on my nerves, Carl does have a way of picking up on things. He really honestly and truly does. So Carl is out there with her, but like I said, he's showing old boy how to hold a gun and all that type of stuff. So Morgan, old simp ass, is easing his way over to Deanna's, you know, not Deanna's, to what is her name? Diane? I can't really think of her name, but her, the girl who supposedly went to school, med school to be able to, you know, help these people over there at Alexandria. She didn't go to med school to help the people at Alexandria, but she went to med school. But of course, all shit hit the fan and she wasn't able to finish, okay? And he's over there, but, you know, at this particular point in time, we don't know why Morgan is over there. We're going to find out later why he's over there. But while he's over there, the girl catches his ass walking up to her door, okay? And of course, she offers him some food and all this type of stuff. And he's like, you know, I really don't want no food. And Rick sees him, and Rick's like, okay, can I talk to you now? So Rick basically, you know, nigga, it's time for us to have this conversation, okay, about what we need to have this conversation about. So he wasn't able to get, you know, with Diane at this particular point in time, even though he was walking up to her porch. Motherfucker, you didn't just pop up on my porch. You here for a reason. So, but Rick sees him and ends up wanting to have this conversation that they need to have. So when basically we find out while Rick was out there in his, you know, the RV, the wolves are the one who disabled his RV, okay? Because we already know they were in the truck trying to kill him and all this type of shit, and they were the ones who ended up disabling his truck, okay? To keep him from being able to get to what the fuck he needed to get. And Rick sees Morgan, and he notices that Morgan didn't kill these people. And him, basically, Michonne, Carol, and Rick, they're all in this little meeting with Morgan, and they want to know why the hell he wasn't killing these wolves, okay? And of course, he comes with his jibber jabber shit, with this Aikido shit. All life is precious. And of course, Michonne tells him, look, man, it is not that simple, which it is not. Of course, you know, we want to be the humane people to, you know, to say that all life is precious and we shouldn't just go around just killing people. But at the same time, in the state of the world now, it's a dog eat dog world. You either kill or be killed, okay? Which is the same thing that Carol is trying to, you know, instill in this little boy's head, the one who upstairs is afraid to come down. You either kill or be killed. There is no in between, okay? Especially with people like this. And not even just people like that. You can run into a random person and that person can appear to be one of the nicest people you've ever met. And this person will literally kill you and steal your last piece of bread, girl. Because it's a dog eat dog world. People are hungry. We're in a zombie apocalypse. And Morgan is literally going to get people killed, or he's going to get himself killed. Clearly. So that's what's going on with that. And basically, like I said, they're basically sitting there having this meeting with him, and they find out that he wasn't killing the wolves. He was basically letting them go. Okay. And then we notice it flashes to that. You remember that old tower situation? Is that where Morgan has this wolf at? I don't know. But all I'm noticing is that the thing is falling apart. To me, it appears like someone is chipping away at this tower to make it, you know, weak or whatever. I don't know if you guys, or if it just was doing that on its own, or if it was a walker in there. I don't really know. Or was it that wolf guy that was doing it? I'm not really sure how that building, that tower situation was breaking apart like that to make it weak. You guys leave that down in the comment section as well, because I'm a little confused about that. That's why, like I said, that's the reason why we do these recaps, in case somebody's a little confused on something, we can discuss it. But we noticed that the tower is chipping apart and it's getting weak, okay? So it flashes to that whole little situation right there. And Rick and Michonne, as they're out on this little situation, and they're trying to discuss ways on driving the walkers away from the wall, okay? Because eventually, like I said, right now the wall is pretty much secure. There really is no problems at this particular point in time, but eventually the wall is going to come caving in. It's only a matter of time, same as it was when the walkers were in the quarry, okay? It's only a matter of time before the 18-wheelers were going to fall and the walkers were going to head towards Alexandria. It's only a matter of time, and it's only a matter of time before the walkers break down this wall and get into Alexandria, okay? So they're trying to figure out ways to get in the car and guide the walkers away from the wall, and Rick wants to just take his people. But Michonne wants everybody to go. And, you know, Rick is like, we don't, you know, we just being able to breathe. We don't need to take them out there. We have to protect them, and we have to protect our people, okay? And she's like, well, look, we're all one now. We're all inside of this wall together. So, and at the same time, I kind of get what Michonne is saying, but at the same time, I kind of get what Rick is saying as well. But I understand Michonne as well, because, you know, we can't, you know, constantly just do all of the work and just go out here and try to protect these people. They need to be out here and understand what the world is like, and they have to be out here and trying to protect themselves as well. They can't just be sitting in here while we're all out there, and what happens if we all go out here and we all die? They're inside of these walls, they still fucked. So she's basically saying that they need to come out here with us so they can understand the way of the world, and they can understand that they're going to have to do some hardcore killing to be able to survive in the world today, okay? So I get what Michonne is saying on that, okay? Then all of a sudden, while Michonne and Rick is out there having a conversation, Deanna shows up with these plans, okay, about her expansion of Alexandria. And of course, Rick is like, look, we got too much shit on our plate, girl. We ain't got time to be sitting there looking at no goddamn plans and shit. We got these damn walkers up here at the walls. We got Glenn, Sasha, Michonne, and Daryl out there. I mean, Sasha, Abraham, and Daryl out there. We don't know where the hell they at. We ain't got time to be looking at no fucking plans, okay? But she's basically, I understand. But whenever we get time, we're going to look at these plans. And basically, we already know what her plans are. In the last episode, we saw where she was drawing up these plans about planting, you know, fruits and vegetables and all this type of stuff to keep people from having to fight over canned goods. Because if you guys remember, when Spencer went in there and was stealing food and shit, and the other people were coming basically trying to get food because they said that they don't want their families to starve, I guess she doesn't want them to have to worry about food anymore. So, you know, that expansion is basically going to be, you know, for the fruits, the vegetables, and all this type of stuff. But girl, baby, we already know, if you actually watch this damn episode, we already know that shit, baby. That might not be happening, okay, Captain? But let's move on, okay? So Rosita is out there teaching, you know, everybody how to, you know, the people of Alexandria, how to use a knife and all this type of stuff. And of course, our boy Elvis. What the hell is his damn name? Shit, Eugene. Girl, that's his damn name, Eugene. Eugene is out there. I don't know, that same bullshit that he was talking in that damn bus back then when they were supposedly heading to Washington. Some shit that I don't even fucking understand, girl. What are you talking about, boy? So of course, like I said, she's out there trying to show them how to use the knife and all this stuff, and Eugene is jibber jabbering. But and a lot of people were saying, well, why was she picking on Eugene? All the other people were out there because, I mean, she knows Eugene, okay? Her and Eugene came into Alexandria together, so it was kind of like she was using him as an example, basically telling him, look, dude, you either learn how to use this shit or you gonna die. I mean, my thing is, I don't understand how many times people gotta tell Eugene that. I mean, it's like I said, I already know for him, the priest, and half of those other people in Alexandria, it's only a matter of time before they all are dead. But shit, you would think that Eugene would just came to his senses by now, girl. But anyway, but that's what's going on right there. Rosita is out there trying to teach these folks how to use a knife and all this type of shit. And of course, Eugene is out there talking crazy. Then it flashes back to Enid. Enid is sitting in a cafe. This chick, she, like I said, she's just a wanderer. She didn't been out in the world before, girl. And she just, you know, I mean, I guess she just had to learn how to survive when her mom and her dad died. So, you know, she's out in this cafe, and all of a sudden she decides that she's going to leave. When she decides to leave, she goes to the door, but she notices there's like a shit ton of walkers in front of the cafe, so she can't leave. But as she's looking out of the fucking door, which is dangerous, because you don't want the fucking walkers to notice you looking out of the damn door, girl. I mean, you're a fucking wanderer, you should know that. But as she's doing that, Glenn sneaks up behind her and put his hand on her mouth. And as he puts her hand on his, you know, on her mouth, she's like, where the fuck did you come from? And he's like, look, you going back to Alexandria with me. And the girl don't want to go. And I'm thinking to myself, Glenn, look, man, your ass barely fucking survived. Leave this bitch alone. I mean, excuse my language, okay? I know some people that watch this ain't really into the cursing, you understand? But look, I'm to the point where now I'm thinking to myself, Glenn, leave this heifer out there. Okay, motherfucker, we ain't got time to be Captain Saber hoes in this world. No ma'am, no Pam. We don't have time to be Captain Saber hoes. So you need to leave her ass out there. But of course, he's talking about Maggie wouldn't want me to leave you out here. I understand, motherfucker, but you don't even know if Maggie alive at this point. Motherfucker, you barely alive your damn self. So he basically tells her she's going back with him, and she tells him no. And as he's trying to, you know, pull her, talking about, come on, you going with me, she pull out a gun on this motherfucking ass, y'all. She pulls out a gun on his funky ass. And I'm thinking to myself, nigga, we just been waiting all these goddamn days to see if your funky ass alive. And now you got a gun pulled out on. So please don't tell me this is how they gonna kill Glenn. Please don't tell me this is how they gonna kill Glenn by this heifer pulling out a damn gun on him when we've been waiting to see if this motherfucker been alive for damn near 2 weeks. Girl. Baby, that shit kind of low-key pissed me off. But she tells him to turn around and walk away. And he asks her, are you going to shoot me? She was like, if I have to. But he ends up snatching the gun out of her hand and all this type of shit. Tells her, you going back with me, lead the motherfucking way. So, of course, she leads the way. I mean, she really ain't got no choice at this particular point in time, girl. She leads the way because he tells her we're going to take the road because we understand that, you know, the fucking walkers, they're not really on the road now because the motherfuckers then headed back toward Alexandria, okay? So back at the OK Corral at Alexandria, Rick is building up the wall. He's putting more planks and shit, you know, 2x4s and things on the wall to make the wall a little bit stronger, okay? So that's what Rick is doing. And basically, as Glenn and Enid are walking, you know, trying to get back to Alexandria to see what the fuck is going on, she finds some balloons, okay, and a helium tank. And she says, you know, we can use this to distract the walkers. You already know that the helium balloons, they float and shit. And if you get too many walkers that come into, you can have these fucking balloons. Where she got them balloons from, I have no earthly idea. I didn't notice that. But, you know, of course, if walkers, there's a ton of walkers, you can get some of these helium balloons, you can float them, and they'll follow the movement. I mean, they fucking walkers, they really stupid, you know what I'm saying? So that's what they decide to do with these balloons and shit that they find with the helium tank. They decide to fill up some of the balloons to use to distract walkers, okay? So, Denise, back at the OK Corral at Alexandria, Denise is sitting reading a book. If you guys don't know who Denise is by the name, Denise is a chick who is basically helping the people who are sick or whatever. The one who found out how to remove the infection from old boy. So she's sitting there reading a book, and Rick's stepson, I'm going to call him a stepson, he distracts her by knocking over some canned goods and stuff, and he goes to steal some bullets, okay? Like I told you guys, Rick was teaching him how to hold a gun and all this type of stuff, but this little motherfucker went to steal some fucking bullets, okay? So it shows him stealing the bullets. And then Glenn and Enid make it back to Alexandria. And as they make it back to Alexandria, they notice all of these walkers that are basically surrounding the walls. And Enid is ready to leave because she's thinking to herself, look, what's the point of us trying to go back there? We don't even know if these people are alive in there. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of walkers that are, you know, basically surrounding this wall. So at this particular point in time, I'm pretty sure she's probably thinking that everybody in that motherfucker is dead. She don't really know what's going on at this point because she left. And Glenn is like, look, the houses are still up. We don't know what's going on inside of there. So he ends up convincing her to stay, okay? So that's what's going on with that. And Spencer, then it goes to Spencer. Spencer is propelling his motherfucking ass on this damn propeller thing across the walkers. I'm confused about that. Why the hell was he doing that? Somebody explain that to me. I'm still confused about that. What the hell was Spencer doing? Is he the one that was in that damn house chopping up the fucking, you know, making the pieces of the house? I don't know. What the fuck was Spencer doing propelling his motherfucking ass across the fucking walkers? And after he's doing that, of course, Rick and Tara, they end up having to help him. But Rick was finna motherfucking just let his ass fall on down there in between the walkers. But Tara, of course, goes to, you know, help save him or whatever. And as Tara saves him and Rick and Morgan and the rest of them pull him up to keep the walkers from grabbing him because the shit that he was propelling on had been broke and his ass was then fell up against the damn wall, and then he fell in the walkers, and of course they throw the rope down there to pull him up. Girl, it was a mess. And like I said, Tara ended up helping him, and Rick, you know, after they pulled his ass up, Rick was like, bitch, look, motherfucker, this your second or third time about to get your ass killed trying to help people. And so, of course, Tara gave him the finger or whatever. But, you know, which is true. This motherfucker stupid ass... I'm not finna go into a rabbit hole on Spencer. But, yeah, Tara ended up having to help Spencer, and of course Rick and the rest of them had to pull his ass up. And Rick didn't like that because Rick said we've already almost killed ourselves a couple of times trying to help these people, okay? So Rick is feeling some type of way about that, and I really don't blame him, okay, to say the brutally honest truth. So Morgan shows up at the infantry or whatever the hell you want to call it, and that's when he basically tells Denise that he's looking for some antibiotics, and she tells him, show me your arm. He was like, well, it ain't for me. Okay, and she basically looking like, what you mean it's not for you? And he's like, it's for somebody else, but I don't want to tell you because I don't want to get you, you know, in a situation that you really don't need to be in. Basically, he's looking for antibiotics to get his fucking walk. So you trying to take Morgan, you trying to take fucking antibiotics away from the people in this community to give it to a fucking person who wants to kill us. That's why I said, y'all, I like Morgan, but I'm ready for them to kill his ass. I'm ready for them to kill his ass dead. He might be dead pretty soon because he fucked around and let Carol found his ass out, okay? So he tells her all that, and then basically after he tells her that, she follows him to where this wolf is, and she has a little backpack on with the antibiotics, but Carol catches them. Carol sees them, but Carol has you know, the baby. And so Carol goes to, you know, Rick new baby mama crush or whatever, and she gives her the baby. But as she does that, she sneaks on over there to where Morgan them is. And then she tells this motherfucker, look, who the fuck you got in this cell? Okay? Because she goes up in there. She got some keys and shit, and she goes in there, and Morgan is standing at the door. And she basically asks him, who the fuck you got in this cell, motherfucker? Okay? You got somebody in this damn cell, and your motherfucker, I'm finna find out who you got in this cell, and it's gonna be some bullshit. Okay, so oh boy, the stepson is walking behind Carl with this fucking gun. We don't know what the hell he's doing. He got the gun in his back, in the back of his pants and shit. He's walking behind Carl which appears to me like he's gonna shoot the little motherfucker. That's what it looks like to me. But of course, things ain't always what they say when it comes to The Walking Dead. But it appears like he's gonna shoot the motherfucker to me. So he's walking behind him with the gun. Then all of a sudden, of course, Maggie is on top of this tower, and Glenn and Enid, they release these balloons that they found. Okay, so they know that Glenn is out there and that Glenn is alive because he releases these balloons. But as Glenn releases the balloons to signal everyone, and everybody sees these balloons, so now they know that motherfuckers is alive out there. Okay. But there's no time to celebrate because as soon as they release the balloons, that fucking house, the tower thing, fucking collapses and tears the wall down. And as it collapses and tears the wall down, all of the walkers are now coming inside of Alexandria. And that's how the episode ends. So I want you guys to let me know what you guys thought about this here particular episode. I enjoyed it to the fullest. I am really, really happy that Glenn is alive and that they didn't put us in no more suspense. Next week's episode is going to be the mid-season finale. So I already know it's probably going to be a whole lot of stuff going on in the mid-season finale. So I'm really, really excited about that. Again, I want you guys to leave comments down in the comment section below about what you thought about this episode. Do you think that the way that they, you know, showed us that, you know, another thing, let me say this really, really quickly before I go ahead and end this. I'm glad that they showed us that Glenn was alive in the beginning of the episode, and they didn't wait until the last 2 minutes because that would have really pissed me off. I'm glad that they showed us in the beginning. That way we can see Glenn throughout the entire episode and see how things are progressing. So I'm just really excited. So like I said, you guys leave comments down in the comment section below about what you thought about this episode and also some of the things that I was confused on. Leave those comments as well, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.